All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Saturday, March 20th. And for new here, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my video. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to find out how many of these picks are also being featured on my premium content, you may want to think about checking me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into our first matchup. It is going to be the Hawks taking on the Lakers, 3:30 Eastern tip-off in Los Angeles. Now, the Lakers are the 4-point favorite, totals 219.5. And if you like the Hawks in an upset at the Staples Center here today, they're plus $1.65 on the money line. Now, we're hitting at 60% our last 10 Underdog tier package picks on my Patreon website. And if you want to access today's Underdog tier package play, it's only going to cost you just $4.99. We're also hitting at 60% our last 15 Underdog tier package picks in that very same category. And if you want to join the 1,375 members who are currently signed up and active on that Patreon page, the link for that site is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And despite how hot they've been, the Atlanta Hawks currently have a losing record on the road this season, and they rank in the bottom half of the league in offensive field goal percentage. Chris Dunn and DeAndre Hunter, they've been listed as out for today. They're taking on a Lakers squad who's been heating up a bit themselves, currently on a 4-game winning streak, 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. The Lakers are currently 15 games above 500. They find themselves with a 14-8 record as the official home team. Los Angeles is in the top 3 defensively in points allowed, top 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, LeBron James is scoring over 25.5 points a game, along with 8 rebounds and 8 assists. Meanwhile, Dennis Schroeder is averaging nearly 15 a night himself, along with 3 rebounds and 4 assists as well. The Lakers are also in the top 5 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage at home, top 10 in home offensive rebounding as well. Now, total-wise, 4 out of LA's last 6 got over the number, 12 and 10 to the over as the official home team. Meanwhile, the Hawks saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the line themselves, throwing out the Houston game. I'm going to lean toward the Los Angeles Lakers, -4, and the over 219.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Kings versus the Sixers, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Philadelphia 76ers are the 6.5-point favorite, totals 231 flat. Despite the absence of Joel Embiid here recently, we're still looking at a Sixers team who went 8-2 straight up in their last 10, and they also successfully covered the point spread in 80% of those contests. Now, the Sixers are currently a remarkable 18-4 straight up at the Wells Fargo Center, and they also successfully covered the number in over 68% of those home contests. Now, Tobias Harris is scoring 20.5 points a night, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Ben Simmons is scoring nearly 16 a game himself, 8 rebounds, 7 assists for the defensive specialist. Philly's in the top 10 defensively in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding. Now, the Sixers are taking on a Sacramento squad who's won just 8 of 20 on the road this season, really kind of struggling when they travel. The Kings are also dead last in defensive field goal percentage, dead last in the NBA in defending the 3-ball. They give up over 119 points per contest on average, and they let their opponents make nearly 40% of their 3-pointers. Now, total-wise, Sacramento's 25-16 to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Philly saw 5 out of their last 8 get over the line themselves. The Sixers are also 13-9 to the over on their home court. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia 76ers -6.5 in the over 231. Next ball game, it is going to be Warriors Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. The Memphis Grizzlies are -5.5, totals 218. Now, Memphis somehow could not take advantage of a depleted Golden State team at home yesterday. Having said that, though, they're still most likely not going to have to deal with Steph Curry again today, and they do still find themselves in the top 10 in the NBA defensively in points allowed, Ja Morant's averaging over 19 points per contest, 3 rebounds, 7 assists for the starting point guard. Meanwhile, Jonas Valanciunas is scoring over 15.5 points per contest himself. The big center is also averaging a dozen rebounds per contest as well. The Grizzlies are in the top 10 defensively in first quarter points allowed. Now they're taking on a Golden State squad who, like I just said, despite a shocking shorthanded victory yesterday, they still have lost 5 out of their last 8 ball games, and they really struggle getting the W on the road. The Warriors have won just 9 of 22 when traveling, and in addition to that, they also successfully covered the point spread in just 40% of those very contests. Now, the Golden State Warriors currently ranked dead last in the association in defensive rebounding on the road. They're also in the bottom 10 in road scoring. Now, total-wise, Golden State's last 3 straight all stayed under the line, 70% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Memphis saw their last 3 straight stay under the number themselves, 80% to the under in their last 10 as well. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Memphis Grizzlies minus 5.5 and the under 218. Next contest, we're taking a look here at the Spurs versus the Bucks, 9 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks are minus 9.5, totals 230 juice to the over. And if you like the Spurs in an upset away from home here, they're plus 350 for some money line cash. Now the Spurs are getting back a healthy DeMar DeRozan. He's their leading scorer with 20 points a game, along with 4 rebounds and 7 assists. They're also led by DeJounte Murray, who's scoring nearly 16 a night himself, along with 7 rebounds and 5 assists as well. Now, the San Antonio Spurs are currently on a 3-game winning streak, and they also find themselves amongst the top road teams in the West. They're currently 12-6 straight up as the official road team. They also went 12-6 against the number in those 18 road contests. The Spurs are in the top 10 defensively in points allowed away from home. They're also in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball in that same category. Now, they are squaring off against a Bucks team who failed to cover the number in 5 out of their last 8. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks are also in the bottom half of the league defensively in points allowed per contest, and they actually failed to cover in 4 out of their last 5 meetings with San Antonio. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee's 4-3 to the over in their last 7, 70% to the over in their last 10 meetings with San Antonio. Meanwhile, the Spurs, on the other side of things, they saw 2 out of their last 4 get over the line as well. I'm going to lean toward the underdog San Antonio Spurs plus 9.5 and the over 230. With that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. I'm talking about the Hornets versus the Clippers, 10 p.m. Eastern start time in Los Angeles. I guess they're going to do a quick sterilization. Get it out. Sterilization. Try to say that 5 times fast. Anyway, guess they're going to try to do a quick sterilization and get a doubleheader going at the Staples Center here. But anyway, the Clippers are the 9.5-point favorite. Totals 232. Now, the Clippers have really been struggling to get the job done lately. Losers of 2 out of their last 3. Only 3-6 straight up in their last 9. The Clippers also failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 9 as well. LA's in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in fourth quarter points allowed. Now, Patrick Beverley's still out. Serge Ibaka is questionable. The Clippers are taking on a Charlotte team who's won 4 out of their last 6 themselves. And they also rank in the top 10 in road scoring. Now, Gordon Hayward scoring 20 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists for the longtime Celtic. Meanwhile, Terry Rozier scoring 20 a night himself, 3 boards, 3 assists as well. The Hornets are currently in the top 10 in shooting the 3-ball on the road as well. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, 4 out of Charlotte's last 5 stayed under the number, 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Clippers. Meanwhile, Los Angeles saw their last 2 straight stay under the line themselves, 6-3 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to lean toward the Charlotte Hornets plus 9.5 and the under 232. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the Lakers -4 over 219.5. Sixers -6.5 over 231. I like the Grizzlies -5.5 under 218. I'm also leaning toward the San Antonio Spurs +9.5 over 230. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, just a final reminder that we are hitting at 60% in our last 10 Underdog tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 60% in our last 15 premium sports picks in that very same tier membership. I'm going to lean toward the Charlotte Hornets +9.5 and the under 232. And with that, guys, one final reminder that all the content on my YouTube channel here is for entertainment purposes only. I don't make any guarantees of any kind. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Daniel Buswell, CH3, Thomas Reason, Stiff Jabs, Armando Garcia, Brandon Lee, the Dingman C. Dinger, Travis Jones, Mike Ernest, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, Donna Raydu. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.